Hey guys, um, I figured I would do a live video right after watching Game of Thrones just to give you like my feedback and thoughts about the whole thing. Sorry, it's like really dark. This is like my first time going live ever. That's like really bright. But I figured it'd be easier just to do it this way because I've been really swamped just with a bunch of other things. So I don't really have time to do a video and edit it and put it up. So that's why I didn't do one for the last episode. And so I figured I would just do this video, even if nobody's watching it live, and then you can kind of see it after. I know that this is like totally unedited and all that, but still, just a good way for me to kind of get my thoughts out and discuss the episode. So let's just jump right in. I'm actually editing my reaction to episode 4 right now, and that should be up later tonight after this, depending how long this goes on. And it was a pretty exciting one. Definitely, I'd have to say a little bit more emotional than I was expecting, and a lot more. Well, one scene in particular was a bit more gut wrenching than most of what happened in episode 3. But I did write down some thoughts, and I wanted to also discuss not season, but episode 3 as well, since I didn't really get a chance to talk about it. Let me see how it looks without this thing on. Maybe a little bit better. Let me put this one over. Okay, there we go. It's still a little bit dark, but it's better, I think. There we go. Let me put that over there. I know I have lights all like little lamps all over my office just for different parts. But anyways, so before I go into episode 4, I want to talk about episode 3 and my thoughts. Overall, it was a decent fight, a decent battle. Obviously, I'm with the majority in saying that it was a tad too dark. Really couldn't see what was going on. So that was my biggest complaint about it. Well, not really biggest. Probably my biggest complaint about it would be the fact that nobody dies. Well, some people die, but none of the main cast dies, which I thought was kind of lame. I wanted at least one person to kind of just meet their end, make the battle a little bit more emotional, impactful, and stuff. So I thought, so I had like in my previous video, I had like a list of who I thought would die and wouldn't die, and basically, I think the only one that I got right was I got Beric right, Jorah, and Theon, and Ed. Oh, and Lyanna. Oh, cool. Actually, most of them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. And then there were other ones that I kind of guessed on, but didn't turn out that way. But yeah, so I'm also a little upset about the whole not really knowing too much about what's going on with the Night King. But I did hear that they're doing a prequel series for Game of Thrones, which will involve the Night King and all of that lore. So I think that they're really saving all of that for that series, which, I mean, I hope it's really good and that they dive into that a little bit better. At least it'll make all of this confusion and mystery worth it, because I honestly, people were having this big issue about Arya being the one that killed the Night King. And honestly, it's not the fact that she was the one that killed him that bothered me. It was the fact that he died so easily and he never really got a chance to fight. I was hoping, really, really hoping for this epic battle between him and whoever was going to kill him, whether it be Jon or Arya or whoever, right? And then also a really awesome battle between his generals and who like maybe some of the main cast. Like, how cool would it have been to see Brienne or Jamie or Jorah or whatever fight one of the generals? Like, I thought that would have been really, really cool, and just kind of see them like kill them with one of the the Valyrian steel swords and what have you. But I thought that would have been cool. But they did absolutely nothing. And I thought, like, from a technical standpoint, I thought that was stupid because all that work and time to put the makeup on each of these people, and really they're just standing there, like background, like extras. It's just really, it didn't make any sense to me. Um, what else? So it kind of sucks that a lot of Daenerys' army is gone. Although in the next episode, she still got a decent amount. It wasn't a total loss for her. And they don't really harp on that too much, even though basically the Dothraki is like done. Um, I was surprised that in episode 4 there were still some left because I could have sworn that they all died. I mean, like not all of them died because I remember at the beginning some of them were running backwards, so running back to the castle. So some of them did survive, but still more than I thought. Uh, Probably the best thing about that episode was the music, like the Night King's score, but also like the music that were playing throughout the whole episode was hands down so amazing. It really added to the impact and the effect of the episode. And like, I'm not a big person. I'm not too into like classical music or instrumentals or anything like that, but I would listen to that soundtrack on repeat for sure. It's really good. Uh, Definitely sad for the people that did die. Like, I think Jorah's death was really well done. I love that he died doing what he wanted to, like something so Jorah, like protecting Dany, his queen, the love of his life, and all that. And I thought that was a really great way to die for him. And Beric was pretty cool. I love that he like used himself as like a human shield to protect the Hound and Arya. So I thought it was really, really cool. It was definitely worth it bringing him back 5 times just so he can save Arya, and then she would be the one to kill the Night King. So that was pretty cool. And Ed saving Sam, poor Sam, I swear. And actually, poor Ed, because he kind of got the short end of the stick. I mean, he survived a lot longer than the other Night's Watch guys, and being one of John's friends. So, yeah, it's kind of sad. So, ooh, what else? Another thing that I really wish I had saw was a better dragon battle. I really wanted like the now that Viserion was there, that to have Viserion and Drogon and Rhaegal just have like this epic clashing of the dragons and stuff. I thought that would have been a really cool battle. In the end, Viserion was facing off against Jon, which I thought was kind of lame, but I don't know. I guess it would have been a lot more money and time and effort to have uh, the dragons like battling against each other. So, what can you do? Okay. What else? What else? What else? What else? Also, like the Hound. I wanted to just comment on that. Like, I get like PTSD, and it's just when the odds are completely against you, you kind of just want to say screw it and just let whatever come. But then, like, dude, like this is the second time he's like frozen up and just really not shown how much of a badass that he's supposed to be. And I like that he stepped it up once he knew that Arya was in trouble. And even though honestly, Beric was the one that saved their lives, let's be honest here. But he's still like, I'll give him a little smidgen back that he tried to save Arya. But yeah, he was being a real punk for a minute there, and I did not appreciate that with him and his character. So, okay, so those were my biggest thoughts that I just wanted to get out there about the third episode. But let's get into the actual episode 4 discussion, and it's actually going a lot faster than I thought, which is good. So it'll be good for the next 2 episodes when like I said, I probably won't have time to do any editing and filming for my discussions for the last 2 episodes. So I just want to do this quick live discussion and get it all out there. And Like I said, if nobody watches while it's live, it's fine. But I definitely welcome your comments on once I put it on my channel for replay. But anyways, okay, so tonight's episode, I'm gonna go a little bit out of order, but really, it's I kind of just I kind of structured it in the way that just key points, key moments that really uh, affected me the most. And hands down, the top thing that happened tonight that really gutted me was Rhaegal's death. I can't. I knew that by the end of this, one more dragon had to die. It just did not make sense if both her dragons survived. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Drogon ended up dying by season. Why do I keep saying season? By episode 6. Like I feel like by the end of this, Dany's gonna die and Drogon's gonna die, or one or the other, or both. Oh, I have to sneeze, but it's not coming. But yeah, I did not expect that. I guess I was expecting if he was going to die. I honestly thought that one of the dragons was going to die at the Battle of Winterfell. And when that didn't happen, then I figured once they have that epic battle in King's Landing, then one of them would die there. But little did anybody know that Euron and the Ironborn that were following him were planning an ambush at Dragonstone, and they shot Rhaegal not once, not twice, but I'm pretty sure 3, if not 4 times. Gutted. I just, it's so sad. And like you'll see my reaction for it. It was just really, it's like even worse than when Viserion died, because like he just got shot once with the spear and he went down, but this, like they tore him apart, and it was just really, really sad and terrible way for Rhaegal to go. And I don't know. Why do they always have such tragic deaths for the animals on the show? Another tragic death that, I mean, I figured she wouldn't live throughout the series, but definitely a sad way to go was Missandei, Dany's true best friend since almost the very beginning. And basically, her and Grey Worm. I mean, obviously, when they had this little discussion about what they would do after the war was won, you knew that one of them was going to die, but I was really thinking it was going to be Grey Worm. And hopefully Missandei would live to see Dany with her victory or whatnot, but she ended up getting captured when Euron and his fleet ambushed Dany and them. And Euron brought her back to King's Landing, and they had this big, I don't remember what they call it in like war terms, but just, it's Dany and her team on one side, and then Cersei and her team on the other, and then they have one person from each side come to meet in the middle and just kind of discuss, oh, you surrender or what have you. And Cersei's standing there at the top with Missandei next to her in chains. And she's like, if you don't surrender, she's going to die. And Tyrion basically goes up to her. He's like right there in front of her face. And it's a very it's a very tense and anxiety ridden moment right there, because you just don't know if Cersei is going to pull the trigger and have like the archers shoot arrows at Tyrion. Like, it was pretty touch and go. I was like, Cersei won't do this. She had her chance to kill Tyrion before and she didn't, because whether or not she is crazy, family's family, but on the other hand, she is crazy and she doesn't care about anybody. So she would have taken the opportunity to kill Tyrion, especially after everything that's happened. So I didn't know. It was like honestly 50-50 if he was going to die right then and there. But she held back. She did not kill Tyrion. And he's like begging her. It's like, don't, you don't really want the throne. Just think about your child. Just stop the war and stop the bloodshed and all that. And she was getting emotional and tearing up. And you can tell that she doesn't want this, but she's in it too far. She's too far gone. And so many things have happened. It's no turning back now. Like, how can you live after everything that Cersei's done? So it's either just keep trying and like die trying, really, or that's it. I mean, you have no other option. It's just you do what you got to do, and if you die trying, then at least you gave it your all, that kind of thing. So I feel like that's all that she can think about. She cannot back down. So in the end, she has the mountain chop off Missandei's head, and it was sad, but also like you could tell, like Grey Worm was so heartbroken. He couldn't even look at it while after it was happening, he was crying, and then Daenerys was so mad. Like I thought, honestly, she turned away and started walking like away from the whole scene, and I thought she was just gonna get on Drogon and just go just burn everybody. But though honestly, right at the edge, Cersei had a bunch of those big like dragon killing I forget what it's called. Not crossbows. Okay. Right at the edge. So she had a good defense. Honestly, that whole time that Dany was preparing for the battle and everything, Cersei was definitely doing her job and preparing for her battle and getting all the dragon killing equipment ready. So props to her. Let's see. Another big thing that happened was the whole Tormund, Brienne, Jaime love triangle was done. It was made up. Like the producers decided who they wanted to side with and who they wanted Brienne to go with, and it's kind of sad. I mean, I think because I like both guys, I would be happy with whoever she chose, but then I would also be sad for the other guy because I think she would have been good with either one. And it's bittersweet in that sense. So she ends up getting with Jaime. Like I could tell, like in her heart of hearts, honestly, I feel like that's who she would want. Like as much, even if eventually Tormund wore her down and used his like wildling ways to woo her, like she would just have such a strong connection and such a strong bond with Jaime that nobody could really get in the way of that. And so I thought it was so funny because like Jaime just comes into her room with some more wine and he starts talking about, oh, like you didn't drink when Tyrion asked if you were a virgin. They were playing that drinking game, and he's all like, "Oh, it's so hot in here," and he's taking off like little bits of his clothing, and I'm like, "Dude, we know what's going through your mind." And I honestly did not expect him to go through with it because it's just you never really think that he would cross that line, especially because he's only ever been in love with Cersei. So it's just surprising to me that he acted on his feelings for Brienne. And I'm happy that they did that, because I like them together. And through most of it, he actually like stayed there with her when Jon and Dany decided to head down to King's Landing. He chose to stay there with Brienne because he wanted to like start a life with her. I mean, in the end, once he learned that Dany was losing a little bit and they lost the other dragon, that he knew that they couldn't have this fight without him, and he had to do something. He just couldn't block it all off. It's his family, it's Cersei. He really needs to be a part of it. It's his destiny and all that. So he ends up leaving Brienne. It kind of sucks for them, but you know he's as much part of this as Cersei or Tyrion, and he really needs to see. And it was really like it was heartbreaking, because they finally got to that point together, and then that's it. I doubt if they're ever going to see each other again, and I don't know. I don't know. I'm guessing Brienne will live, and she'll be there right along Sansa, who I'm pretty sure will live too. And Jaime's gonna die. I mean, I just don't see it going any other way other than the fact that he will be involved with killing Cersei and he'll die trying. So that's the end of that. Oh, and he did tell Brienne about a lot of the terrible things that he's done in his life, especially like pushing Bran out of the tower, which I thought was because she was saying how he was a good man and he's saying he's not. He was only ever really good with her, but that's sad. I hate the way that Jaime views himself. Like he's done a lot of bad things, yes, but still, he's not totally terrible. And Tormund, I feel so bad for him because it was that one scene they were all like not celebrating really, but just having a dinner after the battle, and he goes over to Brienne and he was just saying some dumb stuff that he says, and Brienne just she looks at him, but then she's like, you know what, I need to leave, and just he can sense the tension between her and Jaime, and he can just tell that she's really not into him, and there's something going on between those two, and he admits it. He knows. He's like, I tried, but she's not into me. She likes him, and there's nothing left for me here. And I mean, he soothes his woes with a random girl, but it's just so sad to see that all not really amount to anything. And then he ends up telling Jon that it's time for him to take the wildlings back up north. They don't really belong south of the wall. It just doesn't feel like home to them. And he's just ready to go back home. And then Jon wants him to take Ghost with him. And I thought that was really, really sad because Ghost has been with him through everything. And even though you don't really see them a lot together interact with that, I think they want to give you like behind the scenes stuff that they do have this good connection, but in front of the camera they just didn't have it in the budget or really within the story to have them together a lot. But it's kind of sad, and I really hated how like Jon didn't even try to go over and hug him goodbye or just like, pet him or something. He just says maybe you should take Ghost with you. He's a direwolf. He belongs in the north, out in the wilds, and all that. And it's so sad that he just said he didn't even like really say goodbye to Wolf. He just said, just take him with you, go back to the north, beyond the wall, and that's it. Call it a day. And I'm just like, dude, so sad. That's how you say goodbye to Ghost. It was really sad. I feel like even like Nymeria had a better farewell than that. Let's see what else. Oh, so Jon tells God, Arya and Sansa about who he is. I'm mad that they didn't show us that scene where they're talking. Like he says, I have something to tell you, but you have to swear you won't tell anybody. And they both say they won't, even though that Sansa's going to be a bitch and tell somebody. But he tells them, and we don't really get to see that scene, which sucks. And then later on, Sansa has the balls to go tell Tyrion the truth. And of course, Tyrion tells Varys. And basically, it's just going to be a stone rolling down the hill at that point, because once more than two people know, that's it. Everybody's going to know. And it's just going to be this whole shit storm. Once Dany finds out that Jon told people, like told his family, and then his family told everybody else. And I mean, she made it clear to him. She's like, She personally doesn't care that he's a Targaryen in the sense of their relationship because she still loves him, and they still share that kiss, which I thought was really sweet. And you can tell, like, even if he's a little unsettled that they're related, he still loves her. He still thinks of her as his queen and wants to do right by her. But she just knows that he needs to keep it a secret, and he needs to not let everybody know that there's another option besides her. Even though, as much as he doesn't want it, and he told her that he doesn't want the throne, she does make a point that it doesn't matter what he wants. If everybody wants you to be king, you're going to end up being king, and they won't accept anybody else as much as you want to give it to somebody else. And I have to admit, like, all this back and forth, honestly, I like Jon, and I think he's a good leader. He's a great leader, but I do not think that he would be a good king. Oh my god, hi. Yes, I totally do not like how they just played Ghost like that and did not even give him a good send off at all. Very, very, like, I know that they saved all the budget for the dragons, but I'm like, dude, you couldn't carve out a couple thousand to give Ghost a better send off than what he got. And so, and dude, like, did you see that, like, one of his ears was missing and he was all bloodied up? I'm like, why couldn't you just make him look a little bit better? I just feel bad for him. It's just really, really sad. Yeah. Let's see, what do I have to say? Oh yeah, everybody's like really harping on the fact that Daenerys is becoming all like ragey and all that stuff, but she has just been getting so many hits. Like, nobody's really on her side. You're in like a foreign territory, and she's done that before, yeah, but she's always had like a couple people on her side, and it's kind of hard when you've grown so much and gotten so far in your journey, and then to have to kind of start all over again, it's jarring. And I can see, like, from her standpoint, how difficult it is. And she's trying to do her best and trying to really navigate all this, and then everybody's saying, oh no, you should do this or you should do that, and then she's not really having a chance to do what she wants to do, and nobody's really even trying to give her a chance, especially Sansa and the Northerners. And it just sucks that they don't really give her a lot of credit for that. And like, I've heard others say, like, yeah, they're a little worried about how she's going to, like, how her mental state is with through all this. And then Tyrion and Varys, they do, like, there was like two pretty long scenes that they had going back and forth about, is she really a good queen? Will she be a good leader? Uh, is she not? Is she going crazy and all this? But, like, I don't know. I don't really see her doing anything proactively. She's kind of doing it retroactively, in the sense where, like, if you had somebody just kill your child, I mean, you'd be a little ragey too. Or, like, if you just had all these people who followed you, they died, like, you'd be a little ragey too. And then, she's been very patient. And so I'm not saying that she's totally perfect, or that there isn't something a little bit messed up with her in terms of her view on things and how far gone she is, in the sense that she has like a one-track mind and all she wants is a throne. But I feel like they're not loving on her as much anymore, which I think might be the producers' way of making all of us prepare for her death. Like, when I'm I would say 80% sure that she's going to die by the end of the series. And I feel like the producers want us to be okay with it, want us to feel like it won't be a loss to the kingdom and to Westeros if she does die, that there will be somebody better. So I feel like that's why they're making her out to be so bad, when it just doesn't sit well with me that they built her up so much over the last 7 seasons only to make her seem so bad in 1.5 seasons. So that's my problem with that. But we'll see how it all plays out in the end. Um, my last thing that I wanted to talk about was the whole Arya and Genji thing. So Danny ends up making Genji the lord of I forgot where he's from. Some one of the countries in Westeros. I'm sure you guys would point that out to me, or I'll look it up later, or whatever he says. But she says, "Oh no, you're not a bastard anymore. You're Lord Gendry Baratheon of such and such." And he's like, "Ooh, I'm a lord now." Like he's feeling all fancy and everything. He tries to go find Arya, who's out in the stables or something like that, like shooting arrows, being Arya. And he's like, "Oh, I'm a lord now, but I don't know how to be a lord, whatever, but I would love to have you as my lady." And I knew that she was going to do this. She says that I'm no lady, and I mean, I'm happy for you and all, and I do care for you, but this is just not me. Excuse me. So that's basically the end of them. And she ends up leaving with the Hound. They make their way down to King's Landing. The Hound has to go kill the Mountain before he inevitably dies, because I hope he dies. I think that he serves absolutely no purpose except for to kill the Mountain. That'll probably be the one good thing that he does. And then I guess, Arya will play some big role in the battle. Maybe she'll help when it comes time to kill Cersei, and she'll probably die because I don't know. She did this whole thing about how the Hound was like, "Oh, I don't plan on coming back up here," and she's like, "Well, I don't plan on either." So it's kind of like a foreshadowing of her death. So, and I honestly don't really. She's also one of the people that I honestly don't really see living past this. I really think that the only Starks left will be Bran and Sansa. Sansa will take care of the North. Bran will be all three-eyed ravenish. And I don't know if anybody will sit on the Iron Throne, or if they'll just get rid of that altogether and have everybody take care of their own little countries, or what have you. So, yeah, supposedly episode 5, the next episode, is supposed to be the big one. It is the second to last episode of the season, which historically has meant that there will be a lot of deaths. And the previews for the next episode, they showed us absolutely nothing, really. It was just a lot of ticking and then a lot of jump scenes. And so I can only imagine all the deaths. And I think that they were really saving it for that. They tried to tease us with deaths at the Battle of Winterfell, but I feel like this is it. They are going to have a big battle, and a lot of people are going to die. And then episode 6 is kind of like the recovery, the what's going to happen next, and all that. And I think that the very ending, the very last scene, will be pretty open ended. So I don't know. Although I hope it'll be satisfying. So I just honestly, I predict my death predictions would be all of the Lannisters are dead. Tyrion really will not survive. I just cannot see that. Jaime and Cersei will end up killing each other. And I don't know, Arya will die some way. Maybe she'll die saving Jon or something, or Jon will die saving her. But the Hound and the Mountain will both die. Varys will die because Melisandre said that he's going to die pretty soon too. So I can only imagine that he would die too as well. Honestly, I feel like I'm kind of saying everybody's going to die because that's what it's going to turn out to be. But I don't know. I'm so, it's just, I for sure, I know all the Lannisters will die, and maybe Grey Worm will die. I mean, there's a lot of secondary characters that I thought would die in the sense that they're not that important, but they gave Tormund a send off, so he survives, but he's not a part of the story anymore. and Sam and Gilly. So they did mention that she's pregnant and her and Sam are staying in the north. So that, I believe, is the end of their story in terms of the whole battle, the whole war, and all the Game of Thrones stuff. So that's how they end their story. And like I said, Brienne is staying up there with Sansa, protecting her and taking care of the North, and Podrick is up there with her as well. So those are those characters that's taken care of. Davos is, I think, with Jon. They didn't really show too much of him, so I don't know where he is. But I think he would like survive and kind of just like fade into the background, I believe, in terms of because even if he did die, it's not really that important that there would be any, I don't know, wasted moments on that. Who else? Yeah, so Varys, I believe Varys is going to die, the Hound in the Mountain, the Lannisters, and Arya, Jon, and Daenerys. So those are the three big ones, right? I think in terms of percentages, I would say for Jon, you had to ask. I don't know. It just doesn't make sense if he survives. All right, like 90. Okay, wait. Daenerys, I'm 90% sure she's gonna die. Jon, I'd be 80%, and then Arya, I'd be 70%. So that's how I would rank them. I'm like, for sure, Dany would die, then Jon and Arya in terms of who I think would die. But so those are my predictions. And yeah, so that's what I thought of the last couple episodes. And I'm just excited and also a little bit anxious about who all is going to die next. Who knows, honestly, if all those people are going to die in the next episode, but I'm pretty sure between 5 and 6, we'll get a good mix of things. So anyways, that is pretty much it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed this video the way I did this video in terms of a full-fledged edited one again, like I said. And stay tuned for my reaction. It's pretty sad, pretty intense. But yeah, that's it for me, you guys, and I will see you next week. Bye.